his leadership in education, Dr. Zubair is an internationally recognized researcher in stem cell biology, immunotherapy, and regenerative medicine. His groundbreaking research led to his receiving the NASA Medal of Honor for exceptional scientific achievement in 2022. So today we are very fortunate to have someone who brings together clinical expertise, scientific innovation, academic leadership, and extensive experience in medical education. Dr. Zubair, it is wonderful to have you back with us and welcome to EICAL Live. It is a real pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Alam, for such a wonderful introduction. It's truly my pleasure to work with you again. I know we worked at SSMC and also all the team, your team that you have, Mark and Cleo. This is wonderful, and I truly appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Zubair. Dr. Zubair, you have led the unique opportunity to lead medical education both in Abu Dhabi and at Mayo Clinic in the United States. You have seen healthcare education from two very different systems. Today, we want to look beyond AI as a technology and ask bigger questions. How will AI change the way we educate and prepare the healthcare workforce of the future? I'm sure we have with us today a different audience when it comes to researchers, university researchers, AI researchers, medical education researchers, AI industry, learners, students. So let me start with a broad question. When you look at medical education today, what do you believe AI is going to fundamentally change? I'm not talking about 10 or 20 years, but within the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years.
Well, I can tell you a lot will change, but I would say one specific thing for certain would change, and that is how we define competency. What does it mean to be competent? Um, Traditionally, when it comes to medical education, let's say for our medical students or residents, um, we wanted to know how much they know, and then we also wanted to know how how much they can do independently, so what expertise they have. But for tomorrow, or even now moving forward, uh, that is only part of the story. Because for physicians now and in the future, um, needs to also know how to work with technology, how to identify errors from that technology, how to understand their decision influence how they make judgment based on the information that they get from technology like AI. So fundamentally, I think there are three things related to competency that would change. One is how our learners learn. So learning will change. Already it is happening because now we're going towards more precision education. What does that mean? It means a very tailored learning experience for individual. So the learning is individualized. And you don't have to wait for that one big lecture that is supposed to serve everybody but may not fit with your knowledge gap. You can now get a tailor-made uh, lecture, podcast, animation, simulation. So things that are very unique to that individual learner. So that's pretty gonna change how the learning process will definitely change moving forward to more personalized learning. The second thing that would change is how we assess our learners. So, assessment means uh, your recall, your knowledge, foundational knowledge. But beyond that, I think assessment would look at the individual's capability to make judgments with AI or independent of AI. The individual's capacity to recognize errors, getting from the either AI generated information or through other means. And then the understanding that they are accountable. So even if technology is being used, the physician is accountable for the judgment that and the outcome of the care the patient receives. So that is the new additional thing that would be coming. And finally, and really important, is also the faculty, the role of a faculty or educator would change. Currently, or traditionally, the faculty they transfer information and the learners absorb, students and residents absorb that information. But I think with technology like AI, more and more the faculty would be a medium of teaching critical thinking or clinical reasoning, judgment, ethics, uncertainty of things because things are not clear cut always, and how to consider the patient interest in making those judgments. And again, back to accountability. The faculty would now become a medium of teaching how to be accountable and responsible for the patient care. So I think the future is really exciting. I really think we are moving to more precision education where everything is tailor-made to that individual. And I think healthcare would be better tomorrow. And I'm really excited of what's coming ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Abba. We are all excited as long as we can see a real cooperation, between all these different parties. Because, I always receive a question especially from AI industry and researchers that sometimes they don't really understand, the system or the process or when it comes to hospital setup, when it comes to medical education, different specialties and institution. So as you said, it's really excitement. We have challenges, yes, and we hope that a real, working together between all parties, this will help facilitate, of understanding what exactly we need. And as you said regarding the faculties, how they can really, work in supporting all these changes. So do you believe, Dr. Abba, that AI will replace parts of medical education, if I can say that, or will it actually allow us to provide a much more personalized education for every learner?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the latter, meaning I don't see AI replacing education or parts of education, but I see AI serving the role of personalized learning, personalized or precision education, where things are tailor-made to make it. So when we said it would change learning, it's not just you getting material that you don't know based on your practice. No, you also get it in a format that would work for you as an individual. I'll give you an example. I am really visual. If I see new information in the form of images or animation, I tend to recall that better. And I think majority of people are like that, but it's not all. Some they are more auditory. They want to hear. So a lecture can be a form of podcast. So everybody has some slight variation of learning. So it's not only the content would be tailor-made to the learner, but also how it gets presented. No, it is no longer PowerPoint is the main medium of aiding transfer of knowledge. we can have a different ways to kind of present that knowledge and information. So I really think AI would make things more personalized and make things in a format that that individual prefer and absorb. So learning would be a lot easier than in the future than now.
Okay, having said all that, Dr. Aba, what should medical schools and hospitals be preparing learners for today that we were not preparing them to 5 years ago?
Well, so let's start 5 years ago. 5 years ago, we are teaching our learners how to work with technology, digital health. So things are getting digitalized. Today, to prepare them for the next 5 years and beyond is really how our learners work with technology, how they identify its limitation, and how they understand, its working. So if we're talking about agentic AI, understand how an AI agent works, and also understand how those tools, AI tools, are trained. They are modeled and they have inherent bias. So basically, 5 years ago is more okay. I know about this technology, but today and moving forward is really learning how to work with these tools and understanding their limitation, understanding, the humanistic part of healthcare is very important, and that's what we need to focus. It goes beyond just, share, providing information. It's more about how do you receive and process that information, and understanding where are the limitations and where you need to step in, identifying errors and all of that. I think that is very critical moving forward. So again, it's not about just knowing the technology, it's how to work with it in healthcare.
Okay, if we want to work with it in the healthcare, I mean, how can we identify the tools, Dr. Abba? Like, how can we identify how to customize the tools? So, are you encouraging having open dialogue or a communication with AI industries? Okay, and of course, this with the supervision of, let's say, any hospital management, because let me say it in a different way. Each hospital, I believe, they have their own different maybe system, but of course there is some general, educational system when it comes from the Department of Health, and from the regulatory bodies. But do you think that at this stage, and if are we able to work with AI industries and researchers with having some kind of a committee or open dialogue to let them understand what we need so they can be able to customize these AI tools for us?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's all hands on deck, and I wanna kind of highlight something I saw, particularly in UAE. One thing the UAE is very good at is exactly what you're saying. The government can take a lead and bring regulators, universities, healthcare, all in a one room, and the industry partners who are the technology developers will say, let's work together and solve the problem. So all aspect is represented. So I totally think it is all inclusive, meaning it's not just the AI industry leading the show and ignoring the users, which are the hospitals and the universities. And then we also make sure that the regulators, because this is a new technology, we're still learning the impact it is going to have. And therefore, I think regulation and government presence in all the discussion is very important. It would ensure that the technology align with the need of the population, at hand, be it in UAE or in Florida or anywhere in the world. So it's very important, I think, all the stakeholders to be working together and formulating a way forward. But when it comes to education, we should not forget it's all about the people. People meaning the medical student, resident, and the faculty. So, and it also could be about workforce development, meaning even staff in either university or hospital are all accounted and their interest being put first, rather than just focusing purely on the technology. It needs to work in hand with the application and the need. So
Okay, this is when it comes to UAE. What about Mayo Clinic? I mean, do you think that we should really get any kind of, the current process that you are dealing with in Mayo Clinic? Like, what is your strategy? Or in another word, are you really seeing these kind of things implemented in Mayo Clinic? Are you, being the Dean of Education, do you think that you will be able to implement with the regulator in Mayo Clinic moving forward, what you just mentioned about how to implement the AI?
yeah. So Mayo is quite a unique environment. I'm sure, Alam, we try also to kind of bring the Mayo model in UAE.
Yeah.
So Mayo Clinic environment, I think, is well suited to kind of bring new technology because of the model it already operates on, where practice, education, and research are in the same footing. These are the three shields. So Mayo, our vision is not simply to add AI to the curriculum when it comes to medical training. It is to redesign education for an AI-enabled era while remaining firmly, anchored to our primary value, which is the need of the patient comes first. So, in the whole vein, wherever this new technology applies, the key thing is not to forget your core mission, core values. And Mayo's really worked hard towards that. So everything is patient-centered and ensuring that the technology is not interfering with that. So, and the approach is at a multiple level. So AI application at Mayo is not is a broad spectrum that cut across all the three shields. So practice, education, research, because it's one ecosystem. So I, I think one thing that Mayo stands out is that it is its resources and energy go towards building ecosystem, not one episodic course or some training. It starts with infrastructure, ensuring that the AI platform needed is available. And Mayo has partnership with major stakeholders from Google to Microsoft, to help enable a platform that Mayo can, staff can work with, including learners. We also, as you know, AI is only good uh, if the model it gets its training is good, and a good training model is a model that have good data. And Mayo is very for generations, decades or over a century now, has been the pioneer of data collection and curating the data in such a way that is consistent, accurate, and so that it can be used as a laboratory for training AI and developing new technology. So I think at Mayo, our approach is more ecosystem, and it's not just we're going to look at education alone, or we're going to look at the practice. There are AI-enabled technology at all levels, and our approach, let's say for medical school, it's not like AI is just one optional class that you can take. No, AI is being embedded at all levels and it's a requirement. And the focus is not just, oh, learn about this technology, is more understanding it, its limitation, its nuances, the ethics, and also knowing that eventually you as a provider, as a physician, you are ultimately responsible for the decision, whatever judgment is made. And the fear we always teach our staff, our learners, is that never never delegate judgment that should be made by you. Yes, you should utilize AI as a tool to enable you make a better judgment. But in the end, it is your responsibility as a physician, in charge of the care of the patient in front of you. You are responsible for that and not AI. So, and I think as the technology, the AI technology becomes more and more uh, good at it, I think the need to understand human, leadership as well as judgment is very critical.
Thank you, Dr. Zubair. Speaking about the ethics and the judgment and, the role of a physician, which is, to be honest, very challenging, moving forward with the AI, as we might experience a lot of difficulties of understanding, the real role of the physician here. Because let me ask you, for example, this question when it comes to residents and the residency programs. Imagine a resident is managing a patient with a complex condition, okay? How could AI become a real-time educational assistant without replacing the supervisor and judgment of the attending physician?
Yeah, obviously, I think AI would help in complex cases by providing information that are tailored and also given options, a differential diagnosis and an assessment of why each of the diagnoses is either number one or number 10 on the list of potential diagnoses. So all of that AI can do, but what AI cannot do is clinical reasoning. How do you make judgment? How do you assess all these options and understand the nuances? Nothing is clear cut that it is. And the consultant, the supervisor, also is the one to teach about professional humility, meaning don't think you know it all, uh, and also it is the supervising physician that would teach the resident how to share this information with the clinician, with the patient. Understanding how to explain results, your manners and professionalism with the patient. How do you assess the information you get from the AI, and you need to have a foundational knowledge to detect errors, because if you don't have the basic knowledge, an AI comes very confidently and says, this is the diagnosis and this is the information, you will go with it. So you need to follow and understand the limitation of the tool. And I think, again, we are in an era where, you know, the information, the data is at your fingertips. Now it is up to the supervising physician to teach the art of medicine, your manners, your judgment, how you factor in the patient interests, the patient values, and multiple things that are really humanistic in nature becomes a lot more important when you don't have to worry about the details of the information about the condition, but you can focus more about the patient and the art of medicine.
Actually, we are going back to the point of, if I can say, the limitation of these customized AI tools. Like, for
Hmm.
example, could AI eventually identify gaps in the resident's knowledge or clinical performance and automatically recommend targeted learning?
Yeah, I mean, AI would do all of that in terms of learning, but it may not replace those things that I mentioned that are really more the humanistic side of things, and and is really important for that. Um, so the key again with all of this, as residents learn, is really how to make judgment um, independent of AI or with AI as an enabling tool, and also being responsible for that decision. The danger, again, is delegating those uh, roles of a physician to AI because AI is saying this and that. Now, knowledge gap, absolutely. It can simulate scenarios, it can assess your response and tailor the next case or the next question such that you are better trained. So all of that with AI tools, technology would help with that, but it would not take away again the role of the supervising physician, because you learn to become you learn. So put it this way: AI gives you knowledge, but the expertise of that knowledge comes from somebody with years of experience. So that shapes that knowledge you are gathering, and make you a better person because you have all the information maybe more accurately. Uh, but then the act of medicine, the expertise, the nuances, because since again, nothing is absolute. Um, uh, and there are always nuances, and sometimes it's just the number of cases you have seen over the years. You build experience, and that's how that you kind of factor that in when it comes to your clinical reasoning and judgment. And therefore, I do not think AI would take away that supervising physician role of transferring those years of experience that is needed to shape the patient in front of them, that one case.
Okay, I think, as you said, Dr. Abba, it's all about designing these customized, AI tools and the limitation, in a way that we should keep the supervisor role. And for example, how do we assess competency when the learner has an AI assistant available to them, Dr. Abba? So, I
Yeah,
mean, yeah. Again, the answer is we need to make sure that yes, we have this AI. It's important. It's should be, customized in a way that can facilitate the learning process for them. But as you said, at the same time, we need to make some kind of limitation to these AI devices or systems or process where the educator keep their role. But of course, this will be identified by both, the stakeholder and the provider in the support of the AI industry researchers. What do you think, Dr. Abba?
yeah, absolutely. I think that needs to be clear and conveyed to the AI industry. researchers to kind of look at the when it comes to healthcare, the act of doctoring. You mentioned one word when you say AI assistant. I think the emphasis is assistant. An assistant is not supposed to be the driver. So the danger again is relying too much on the assistant. And so our learners should never think with AI, uh, you know, getting foundational knowledge and learning is no longer necessary. Because again, if you don't have that foundational knowledge, you may not be able to detect errors. And we know AI is not perfect. We also know AI is biased because it's a product of a modeling, a training algorithm that could be biased. So I think that foundational knowledge is needed for our partners, and understanding also that AI tools is AI assistant, not your supervisor or the one making the decision. And that's really where I think it's important to emphasize that. And that should uh, be the kind of feedback we need to give to the AI industry
Yeah.
partners so that they can design their model appropriately to address those limitations.
Yeah, exactly. Continuous medical education. For those attending, from the researchers and from the AI industry, continuous medical education is a very important, ongoing process, educational process for physicians, for allied health, for nurses, for learners, to keep updating their medical knowledge and also to gain CME points where they can be able to renew their license. And this is the system in UAE. And I think it's the same system in the United States, Dr. Abba. So currently, what we do, we have traditionally delivered CME, continuous medical education, through conferences, lectures, workshops, online courses. How do you think AI will transform CME and continuing professional development?
Yeah, and this is really a good question, Alan. I know you've dealt with CME for quite
Yeah.
some time.
I know how everybody is struggling, to be honest, without a customized AI tool, especially when it comes to accreditation process and the manpower you need to do that,
Yes,
So
yes,
we have
yes.
different perspective when it comes to continuous medical education. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely CME will change in the future. It's already changing. Like we talked earlier, this is going to be more personalized. So you go to conference, currently that's what we do. You attend a lecture. The lecture, maybe half of it is relevant to your own practice or your need. Um, Sometimes you want to attend uh, two lectures, but they are occurring at the same time. So I think we are entering into arena where education is more personalized, where you can curate, specific knowledge gap based on your practice, and just get those. Just learn about those gaps that you don't know. Also, things that are new in your subject area can be targeted towards you as a person. So somebody who is a surgeon is dealing with colon doesn't need to know about some new treatment in psychiatry, something like that. Now, the danger I want to caution us all that is value to know things broadly because you don't know how things interact. The danger again is with advent of AI-enabled learning, you may find you are kind of siloed and yeah, you become a better expert in your own field. But then when it comes to multidisciplinary approach to things, you are kind of limited. So we need to be mindful of that. Still, AI technology can help with that to kind of add some peripheral knowledge that you need to make yourself a better, make your practice better. You can help your patient better. I just made an example about, a surgeon who may not need to know about treatment of depression. But the same patient that he may have done a colectomy, remove some of the colon or a huge scar in the abdomen may cause psychological distress to somebody or somebody who had a surgery in his face, affecting how he think of himself and how others view them. And that may come with an angle of depression and all that. So it's good to have a broad foundational knowledge. However, I think the era of just absorbing everything and forgetting it because it's not relevant to your practice is going to go away. But I think we need to be mindful that it's always good to just get new knowledge even outside your own practice.
Well, thank you, Dr. Abba. From my perspective, to be honest, regarding this continuous medical education, what I can see really, and from my previous experience, is that we need to identify a customized AI CME like system, if I can say, starting with the regulator, and like it should be all one standard system where there is some kind of AI continuous medical education for each physician with their specialty. They should identify a tool for that. And of course, this will never stop, the meetings, which is that should happen definitely, where they can, gather and meet and, and discuss and, everything. But there should be some kind of a more easy, fast system from starting with the regulator, where this AI specialized continuous education targeting each physician. Let me ask you this question. Could CME eventually become personalized to the individual physician based on their clinical practice, patient population, knowledge gaps, and performance? Or, in another word, do you see a future where a physician doesn't simply choose a CME course, but an AI system continuously identifies what that physician needs to learn?
Yeah, absolutely. I see. I like your thought about some kind of a CME platform
Yeah.
that have some matrix about the individual physician and continuously monitoring those, and then providing tailor-made, lectures or courses to take. Now, the caution I have is I don't want to see a world where AI is a surveillance mechanism for physicians, where they are continuously monitored and sometimes even maybe for compensation or performance and all of that. I think if we go in that route, it would be very dangerous. Those there is always, we know we are humans, and there's always those nuances, and one variable should not determine the outcome of care provided by that physician. We know we are some of all variables that make somebody better or not. So I truly think the CME requirements can be tailor-made based on broad practice need, not necessarily some kind of algorithm to assess individuals' competency based on a few variables. So that's really my concern. I really wanted to be sure that places that are thinking of that, and there are already some that are, they are not turning AI into surveillance and being so regimented. Again, medicine is both science and art, and there are some nuances, and it's not all cookie cutter. You know this, you don't know this, and so that's really where my concern is. But you're absolutely right that a platform where individual physician will plug in and then provide some variables like the nature of diseases that the physicians see, the patient population in general, and also what the physician responded to some series of questions. Based on that, the AI program can tailor-made specific lectures that that physician can, or courses that physician can attend or kind of go through and then get credit for. And it could also be case simulation and so
Yeah,
on, rather than not just lectures, but there are multiple ways of doing that. So, and I think that's really exciting. It will make
yeah,
that physician a better person, a better physician,
exactly.
and so on. But hopefully, it will not be used as a surveillance mechanism.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully that the regulators, and the stakeholder, they understand about this huge needs. And this system should be standardized, and one system connecting everything together, like starting from the accreditation to the process to the license, physician license, exactly what they need, and of course, how they are really overwhelmed, the physician now, Dr. Abba, and I'm sure you understand about when it comes to CME, and they really want to gain all these points so they can, learn about the updates and learn, and be able to even to renew their license. They are really currently, I think that AI support and AI system would really help in this huge area, and because there is a huge gap, I believe. So we hope that
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Not to interrupt you. I think so. Like uh, one of the easy hanging fruit. I understand, like you said, having a platform maybe run by government, like Ministry of Health or something, where that the agency that provide license and accreditation, they can develop a platform for physicians to kind of plug in and then get tailor-made courses and lectures. But the other thing which Alan, I think you would like, is, let's say you are you are conducting a conference, GI, conference, and you can, based on the attendees, those who register, you can even design the topics to be presented to make it more tailor-made, because you have information about all the register people that register, and you can kind of modify the presentation based on the audience, and I think that's really great. Basically, having some feedback from the audience before even the conference starts, to kind of, so that you know what they are interested in, what they want. But the thing you also touch on, I don't think all of this will replace the networking part that
yeah, of
happens
course.
when we attend conferences, sharing those humanistic ideas, and some of it is it might not be accurate, but you hear all different notions, biases, experiences. This is how we do it, but eventually, and this is where the clinical reasoning comes, you are, as a person, as a physician, you are the one to make the final judgment about the patient in front of you, considering all the experiences that others shared with you. So I really think probably we will find less lectures at
Mhm.
conferences, but more networking, more town hall kind of a discussion forum like
Exactly.
what
Yeah.
we're having now, but I wish the audience can participate where there are exchanges and discussion rather than just, a lecture that may not fit all the audience, only a few would benefit from it.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about, just having this AI customized system where medical staff, all specialties, including allied health nurses, where they can, in a weekly basis, have this AI tool where they are learning, in a weekly basis, updating their knowledge. And of course, we will have these meetings where they can, it's open discussion, case discussion, rather than just a theory or a presentation with the knowledge where they can have it or they already knew about it from these AI systems. How about that?
Yeah, no, I think that would be really good. I think it would be supportive, where there's a continuing education. Again, the danger, we don't want to make it burdensome. I like, so at Mayo, we have this 5 minutes, Tech Five, they call it Tech Five. So it's not more than 5 minutes. You learn about one thing quickly, and I think that's really important. And the danger, again, is to overemphasize those knowledge. I think the real experience, I mean, especially with medicine, is just doing it, having those cases, mingling with more experienced doctors, sharing ideas, and all of that. I think that's really important, and we should not be more like a robots or too regimented. That's the message that
Yeah, I
I'm
think
trying to
so.
convey. Yeah.
Yeah. Before I go to ask you more questions, Dr. Abba, I just want to remind the audience, in case you have any question, please write in the send your question. We will be looking at all these questions later on. Another question, Dr. Abba, if you were asked today to design, let's say, the education strategy for a new AI-enabled hospital in the UAE from the ground up, what would be the three things you would build first?
Well, the three things you can say, one is people, practice, and trust. So these three things to me are very important. So do
Mhm.
I mean by people? This you want to make sure that the people have cognitive readiness, meaning using the model or the AI system to enhance their knowledge and for their specific task. Now, that means in a hospital, you need to, just like we talk, we want the stakeholders to be at the table when you are designing this or implementing this new technology. I think to sum it up is more like workforce development should be at the core. When I say workforce, it's a spectrum from learners to actual staff in the hospital. So that is what I meant by people. Now, when it comes to practice, is how do you AI technology enhance our practice? It's one thing to know about the AI, have a knowledge about it, but is the other is how does it fit with the day-to-day practice? So I would emphasize a toolbox environment where uh, clinicians, nurses, admin staff, all the people, the stakeholders in the healthcare system come together in either simulated environment or in a forum where they can see how this technology would actually play a role in their in their practice. I can tell you one thing that probably we haven't touched on. um, the practice of today and tomorrow is already the patient will come with AI information in their hand,
Yeah.
try to talk to you to say this is what we learned. And I think we need to train our learners and our staff to learn to handle those kind of information. One is you should never be dismissive. You should take the information that they have, explain to them what it means and what are the nuances, and what that things that are not accurate, you explain to them. So remember, you are working with the patient, so you are not you want to be sure that the patient understand you and what you are doing. It doesn't replace you. I think it doesn't replace you as a physician. The part that the patient come to the doctor, it means yes, they have the AI, but they still need you to explain to them because they don't have that knowledge, and that's why the foundational knowledge cannot be replaced. We have to learn. We have to still know the knowledge that is needed so that we detect the error when AI slip up or provide something that is not accurate. So that is that's the second part, the practice. How does the technology, AI technology, fit in with the workflow and how you interact with either your colleagues or your patient using that AI platform? And finally, the trust. The trust is really ensuring that the data that goes into the AI model is good. The trust that there is no bias in the system, and communicating with the users and the patient that this is how you ensure on a continuous basis that the model, the system is being monitored to ensure accuracy, ensure there is no bias, and also the ethics of the practice. Because you need to build trust about the technology before you are able to get a good buy-in and full understanding of what its capabilities. So those are the three things. Again, people, practice, and trust. I think they are very important.
Yeah, I think it's very important points: people, practice, and trust. And this is what's telling me that the best way how this should be done is from the very first beginning, when the stakeholders, are discussing with the healthcare providers and the AI industry of understanding the whole concept, identifying the gap, approving a certain process where they will be the best one or solution, let's say, and at the same time expecting the best outcome of it when it comes to trust, Dr. Abba. So
Yeah,
thank you for the 3 points: people, practice, and trust. I think if we really focus on how we can build this AI system depending on these points, I think the journey will be exciting. The journey will be going in the right track, because what's happening now, from what I can see, you can have some of these AI industries like declaring that, oh, we are building this system, we have this device, but to be honest, honestly, uh, um, they don't really provide, maybe because of lack of understanding of how this system is going when it comes to medical education, and the gap. They don't really provide solution where maybe it's not adaptable sometimes when it comes to medical education. So
yeah,
yes, when we have the stakeholders, the healthcare providers, the educators, all of them discussing together about what exactly we want, and then they go through all this practice, develop everything together, call the AI industries to customize what they need, and then we have definitely the trust, so we can have the best outcome ever we need from this AI, technology.
yeah.
Uh,
I couldn't agree with you more. I think having all the stakeholders around the table discussing the industry providers, they think about the technology more than the application, and I
mm,
think is the role of the hospitals and the government to ensure that is more about the application the technology is a tool, but how do you apply it? And then the regulators ensuring there are guardrails so that patient privacy is maintained, the ethics and all of that. So I think it's really important.
Yeah. We have only 3 minutes. Just let me ask you last question. Then maybe if we have any question, maybe Mark can let us know if there is any questions so you can answer. If you could give one message to today's medical students, residents, physicians, and healthcare educators about preparing for the AI era, what would it be, Dr. Abba?
I would just say we are in an exciting moment. I would ask them learn about this technology as much as they could, but never think it is there to take away their responsibilities. Patient care, clinical reasoning, judgment. These are humanistic, attributes and should never be delegated to AI too. But they would find learning is easier, their practice would be better, more precise, and so I think the future is exciting.
Exactly. Yeah, I think so. Me too. As long as we have, collaboration between all the stakeholders and AI industry and the learners and, educators, I think we have a great opportunity to provide really, great achievement in a support with the AI industry rather than AI replacing us. This will never
Yes.
happen. It's an AI assistant. It's like at the end, we are human and it's technology. Technology is to support human. So I'm very excited and thank you so much, Dr. Abba, for this really very rich discussion. But really, I would like to thank you for joining us today. It was very important and very unique discussion. We are very excited of the new era of AI. We are all optimistic, and I'm sure this will be a great help to developing the medical education. If you want to say any last word, Dr. Abba, please.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciate the opportunity. This is an exciting topic, and I'm sure more to come.
Inshallah. Thank you, everyone, for attending us. Thank you so much, Dr. Abba. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.